Welcome to Crime Into Bed, everyone. We're obviously winding down for bed. One thing my mom does is eat ice cream. She's gonna do a little ASMR for you. Don't do that.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
can't
hate
stand
that.
people smacking. I want to smack people who smack
We're gonna make this podcast hopefully a great way to wind down for the evening.
or wind up in the morning. However, whatever.
Whatever works for you, because honestly, you can listen to podcasts any time of day. That's what I love about podcasts.
Oh yeah.
I listen to podcasts while I'm working out, while I'm cleaning, while I'm not wanting to listen to what's going on in the living room. I just put my headphones on and tune
She
out.
podcasts out.
I
She
do.
does. She just takes herself to a different world.
But when you find an interesting story, I mean, like, you just want to get through it all.
Have you ever been looking for a really good podcast that you wanted to listen to? And within like the first 3 minutes, you're like, nope, nope, gotta move on. This is not that podcast.
Yes, yes. So we may not be for everyone. We're accepting that right now. And you listen here, we are authentic. We're from the South. We don't know how to be anything else other than
Oh, we are.
just a good time, honestly. So
You ever seen us in public? You know what you're talking about.
yeah, anyways, we really the inspiration for this podcast was a few years ago. We were like pod listening to podcasts so much and getting so invested in these stories, and we're like, we could do that.
Why is anybody not telling that story?
Yeah. So I actually became a victim of a crime that is still an ongoing investigation, but we could talk about some aspects of it and we can actually tell you everything that we found out about these people.
Netflix, Hulu, call us.
Yeah.
You want this one.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually insane. I mean, blind cowgirl church. What else? What's the craziest one that you think?
The craziest one that I think,
Yeah.
the bank heist gone wrong.
Mhm.
And oh my gosh,
The
the $500,000 scam. I'm still looking into that one.
yeah, the scam I was a victim of was the Ozark safety cabin scam, which led me to opening up this can of worms that
If you've ever gone fishing and you bought a can of worms, this story, this family, this is buy one can of worms, get 17 free.
was
It is late,
lame.
but if you opened up this story, if you like when we started investigating this story, we did not know that every person you interviewed, everything I pulled up on the internet was going to lead us to something else, someone else, something else. Here we go. This rabbit hole, that rabbit hole.
So let's introduce the people we're gonna be talking about.
But before we go any further, we do want to clarify everything that we report to you has come from public knowledge, personal experiences, law enforcement agencies reporting to us, and other people who have been affected by this family. Everything that we report to you has been checked. We will provide some of our own opinions, but we do want you to form your own conclusions and thoughts from the experiences we're going to share with you about this family. We have contacted the Dugan family. We know that they are aware that we're making this podcast, and we have requested that they provide us with comment to 42 email addresses. 20 of those email addresses came back. That means 22 of those emails were delivered. We have not heard from the Dugan family. We encourage you to reach out. We want to hear your side of this story.
If our podcast reaches the audience that we want it to reach, we hope that more people will come forward and tell us what happened to you. I mean, it probably sounds something like this of having a cute little tiny home. And for us, we wanted to make it an Airbnb. We had that dream for a few years and it finally came true. I mean, we also did not just like go and like buy the first tiny home we found. We looked around.
Yeah.
Shocked.
This was extensive research. Your husband is not going to be like, "Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Everything on Facebook is true. Let's jump into that."
Yeah. He is a salesman, so he does his due diligence and knows the questions to ask and all of that
Can we
stuff.
say he does his overdue diligence? Because I'm talking, thought this was legit. And I mean, he's an extensive, no, I need to look into that person
Mhm.
before he hands over $7.50.
Yeah. And that's what I love about him. I was letting him take the lead on all of this, and so we go check out the facility. We meet Allison Mulpus. We sign a purchase agreement. We wired the money to their bank account, and
Signed a rent to own agreement kind of
Mhm.
thing. Yeah.
so yeah, that was just $7,500 that
Only.
was down the drain, but we also had to pay for to the land in order to get the home delivered.
It says here in the purchase agreement that buyer shall be responsible for any site preparation, permits, and arrangements necessary for the delivery and installation of the property. We're talking another $20,000 just to have that done because this was virgin land. They had nothing but trees and shrubs and brush that had to be cleared.
Yeah.
A gate had to be put up, a road had to be put in,
Mhm.
a septic tank had to be put in, a perk test had to be done. Ozark safety cabins. Do you understand the amount of money that you have scammed my daughter out of? I don't think they get it. They're gonna get it.
Well,
Get it because I'm here to tell you.
yeah, not only was the tiny home a scam and them knowingly allowing us to spend all this money for renovations, which is like another level of like psychopath. Here is where we're at. We signed this purchase agreement, $7,500, developments of the land, everything. All in all, my husband and I are probably out 20 plus $1,000. I don't have a sum total of everything.
Oh, okay.
So we are out that money, and then we are trying to communicate with the engineer to have them come in, right?
So they need specs for, I think, the septic tank area. And so they needed to talk to the engineer. That's legit. Like you would want to speak to an engineer, especially if you're out nearly $30,000 to put in this Airbnb income that you're trying to get started. We were even shopping for decorations for this Airbnb home. Anyway, so you try and get in touch with the engineer.
Yes. So this is where things are not adding up because my husband, being the salesperson that he is knowing that we need to move things along. He's very fast paced, and he's expecting communication back from Allison at this point. This is who he's speaking with.
So you signed this agreement on June 21st of 2024, and then now you're wanting to speak to the engineer. Was that around, I believe, July 2024? August?
Yes. So he is reaching out consistently to Allison
As one would.
in order to hear back from the engineer or hear from an engineer because Allison doesn't know how to do her job. She's always in meetings but has no idea how to do her job.
Wait.
We are needing answers. We need the engineer's evaluation of everything so that we have the dimensions and specs for all that it entails. Zach was in charge of all of that, but basically, he was left on red many times. He called and called and called, no answer, no call back. And finally, he gets so frustrated that he sends me screenshots of their conversation, asks me to call Allison because he, in his own words, says he feels like he's being led on and lied to. And called, no answer. So I had everyone that I knew trying to call these people.
And I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, I am pro Dugan family at this point. I'm like, well, maybe something happened. You never know. Maybe they had a car accident. Maybe, maybe they're out of town. Maybe they're on vacation.
Yeah. Turns out that after me sending a very strongly worded email because I'm just over it all, it's literally almost August, which is when our payment arrangement is supposed to start. We're assuming we're supposed to have our home by then. They should have let us know by now that there was a delay, and they had not. So that's when I send this email and I suggest that if they don't contact us in 48 hours, that we will have no other option than to contact legal counsel. But what winds up happening is that lit a fire under someone's butt because Zach gets a call
Yes.
from Angela Dugan, CEO of Ozark Safety Cabins, who had just recently died
She died
and came back to life.
and came back to life
So they went from ghosting us to like actually trying to
to be a
ghost.
ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good one. That's a good scam right there, Angela. Good on you.
So that's where we're at. And my husband he wasn't having it. Like he was so over it at this point that he was,
It's fed up.
yeah, he was like, okay, I'm sorry that happened, but we need a refund or our home back, please.
Yeah.
Thanks. So
Like literally. That's what he said. Sorry, give me my money back. Give me my home.
so we hear nothing from her after that. Which they had a lot going on. I will say that when we start telling these stories of other
In
people.
hindsight, yeah, now we know they had a lot of scam.
Mhm. Yep, yep. Their lies started to catch up with him really quickly, and we just so happened to.
Weren't they runt out to Flippin?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure they just decided to leave because they were found out,
They were found out. Yeah.
but we'll get into that. This story I'm telling, my story, leads into another story that is very important to tell.
It's so, so very sad.
It's one big reason why I even wanted to cover this story for the first season. So,
Miss Betty, I've never met you, but I love you.
yes, and I wanna hug you
I wanna hug you, and
very
I'm
much.
so very sorry that the Dugan family caught up to you.
But here's how I even found out that other people were scammed is because of law enforcement. I did get in touch with a detective in Flippin, Arkansas, and he was able to let us know that he was very much familiar with the Dugan family. He doesn't go into specifics.
Can't.
Yeah, so I do my own sleuthing, and that is when I found other people who had either like left reviews on their page or were following them or whatever. So I was just messaging everyone. I was
Yeah.
shooting out. I had this like copy paste message. I was like, "Hey, I'm not sure if you're aware. You're following
You don't know
Ozark
me,
State."
I don't know you, but we have something in common.
Yep. So I reach out to Betty, and that is when she lets me know that she's basically freezing
The
in
cold,
a tent
in the snow.
because they scammed her out of not just well, she was expecting a home, but she was expecting 3 separate containers.
Shame on you.
So, this is where we want to really dive in and really put, uh, put our heels in when it comes to the Dugan
Yeah.
family is
Yeah.
because the way that you treated this woman is absolutely horrendous. Like,
It should be criminal,
not that they have a conscience, allegedly.
obviously, but
Allegedly, in my opinion, I don't see how you could have a conscience and
and do what
still.
you did.
Yeah, it was bizarre, and I can't even when we read the messages between them and Betty.
Let me just make this point. They know what they did to this woman because they were responding to her messages.
Mhm.
They were fully aware of what she was dealing with.
Yep, yep, and
Now I'm mad again.
so let's get into
Miss Betty.
Betty's story.
She deserves for her story to be told. I don't care if this reaches 10 people. 10 people need to hear what happened to Miss Betty by this family.
Don't mind if the tone changes because obviously this is a very serious part of the story. We're also going to be reading a lot from the teleprompter. When Betty first found Ozark safety cabins, she thought she'd found the answer to a problem she never expected to face. As a widow preparing to sell the home that her late husband had built for them and they lived in for years, she was looking for a simpler future.
Right.
She believed that Ozark safety cabins could help make that happen, but what Betty didn't know was that she would spend months
Month.
chasing answers, seeking updates, and trying to get straightforward information. And trying to get straightforward information about a home that she had already invested.
$12,500 in.
Thankfully, Betty kept the receipts. She shared her private messages between her and Ozark Safety Cabins with us, and we're going to share them with you on today's episode.
Yes, Miss Betty, Miss Betty. So we're going to be reading those messages to kind of help reconstruct what happened and to hear her story unfold in real time. And one of these messages she sends Ozark Safety Cabins is incredibly heartfelt and vulnerable. And she says, I have so many mixed emotions right now. A part of me is excited to start a simpler life, but part of my heart is breaking because I'm leaving the home that my late husband built for us, for me.
Mm.
I just pray that he is looking down on me and understands that I just can't afford to keep it up without him. Thank you so much for helping me through this process, through this transition. Wow. She's trusting them completely.
She's even thanking them.
When do you think Betty began to realize she may have made the wrong choice?
So, would it surprise you if I told you that that message we just read was sent on July 10th? But some of the first messages that we received from Betty start in June.
Of the same year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's look at those. Ozark Safety Cabin says, sorry, this isn't Allison. Do we need to get a message to her? I can have her call you if I need to. She has been in meetings all day. And in a separate message right after that, they say, she just got your email.
This is the next message from Betty in reply to that series of texts. I've been working with her, meaning Allison, on my home, but she hasn't replied to me since May 23rd. She was supposed to send me some documents to sign. My home here has been sold and I need to be out by August 15th. I know you've had some severe weather. Look, she's trying to be
She's being
nice.
so concerning. So you mean that Allison had ghosted this poor sweet widow since May,
Mhm.
and it's now July 10th.
Yep. That's what seems to have happened here. And then she's trying to address it with whoever is at the other end of the Ozark Safety Cabin Facebook page. And she's getting like the runaround. And
No.
she's like getting, I don't know, Allison's in meetings all day,
She's been in meetings since May the 23rd.
right? Like, how many meetings? 24/7, nonstop. Can't
No
eat,
bathroom
can't
break.
sleep. No. I just want to say that this is exactly what we experienced with Allison.
Yeah.
Exactly the same type of messages. It is
Yes.
so frustrating, makes no
No
sense,
sense.
doesn't answer your questions.
Yeah.
But
We're worked up. We Arkansas gals. Yeah, I can't believe that Miss Betty was still so nice to them after nearly
this
2
is,
years
yeah.
later.
And this pattern continues.
It
I mean, she
does.
stayed so patient, but what I know from these messages is that she was just trying to get answers.
Right.
Like,
You
wanted
know,
to solve.
answers they didn't have.
Yeah, I
Had
mean,
no money.
she needed to have the same answers we needed. She
Yeah.
wanted to solve an issue that she was having that put the whole transaction at risk of falling through. So
Yeah.
the first major obstacle, if you want to
Sure.
talk about that,
Let's go there. The issue being, Betty learned that Nevada's regulations had changed. The home she had ordered couldn't simply sit on 3 skids or gravel to comply with local requirements. The structure, the tiny home, needed to be considered movable. So here is a quick timeline of the conversation they have. June 12th, Betty asks about putting the home on wheels. Simple question. That same day, Ozark Safety Cabin says they will consult their engineer. Ozark Safety Cabin says wheels are not feasible because of regulatory requirements. June 14th, Ozark Safety Cabin, it's changing its position and it says they can add the wheels. The problem that had supposedly been impossible only days earlier, 48 hours earlier, was now being presented. Sure, we can do it. What do you need, Betty?
for Betty, this was the first example, I think, of a pattern that would continue throughout the project. Changing explanations and uncertainty from the company that was supposed to be trustworthy. She was completely relying on that.
So, July 1st, let's just go back there. There is some correspondence from Betty where she's touching base. Hey, remember me? And she's wondering about the direction that the home needs to face because of solar panels. She's having solar panels installed on her tiny home. So, she also asked for the new pictures of the house.
July 8th, there is a question Betty asks about the bathroom closet. She says, I'm trying to figure out storage. Trying to downsize from a 2,700 square foot home is not easy. Again, no response. So, like Betty asked, just checking to make sure that we are still set for next month of all of my units. And there is actually a response. Yes, we are.
It looks like she also asked the same day about having the empty storage container delivered as soon as possible since she has to move because her house is closing that Friday. She informs them the pad for the container home she plans on living in will not be ready until next month. So she will have to live with her daughter until August. She gets an out of character, timely response from Ozark Safety Cabins indicating that they will check on having the storage container delivered and congrats Betty on closing on her house.
And that brings us to where we begin. She was still giving them the shadow of the doubt. She was confiding her raw feelings to them, telling them her prayers, thanking them for helping her through this transition. I cannot believe the audacity of these liars to continue leading on this poor woman, but they do indeed continue their scam and their pattern of terrible communication, except for when they sensed an opportunity for more money to be made. They seem to be pretty responsive after Betty informs them that she can pay the rest of her balance since she has closed on her home.
I can see that here. July 15th is where there's a lot of exchanges between them, mostly about how to send the rest of the money. By 3 p.m. that day, Betty has driven 50 miles into town to complete her wire transfer and has given Ozark Safety Cabins a confirmation number. The next day, July 16th, Betty wants to make sure they received her transfer and confirm that it did go through and that their accountant will send them the paid in full receipt and they will send that to her. Her immediate response to that message is, if you happen to wander outside, can you snap a picture of my house with a smiley face?
Betty, we know that will not happen. July 17th, Betty messages, no receipt, no pictures, then a sad cry face. There's a response from them that says that claims they've been out of the office for the past 2 days, and there is yet again another response for pictures, request for pictures. Crickets from Ozark Safety Cabins. Understandably, Betty gets upset. July 22nd, she messages someone, please answer me. No receipt, no day of delivery this week. My son in law has to know when to take off.
Good for you, Betty. I would have gone full Karen a long time ago, as you can possibly see from my attitude.
It doesn't take much for you,
No, it
but
doesn't. Mess with vulnerable people. I know we know that this is not the end of the story, but I just keep reading these wishing that things had been actually different for Betty.
I do too.
So let's go through the rest of the messages. It looks like there's a message Betty sends on July 24th. She says, 8 days since I paid you in full and still no receipt. Storage unit was supposed to be here this week and still no word. What's up?
There is a response from Ozark Safety Cabins that says Allison hasn't gotten in yet this morning, but we are working with our transport crew. We had 2 people quit, and we wasn't expecting that. Give us today to figure out our transportation. We are very sorry for the inconvenience. And this is Angela Dugan. I am the CEO. I will make sure you get the receipt today, and we have a scheduled delivery again. We are very sorry for the confusion this may have caused. Thank you for being a valued client, Angela Dugan, CEO. She likes to throw that out there a lot.
And yeah, she does. And let me also just say, still no picture, Angela Dugan, CEO. Send the woman a picture. Okay. So this is exactly what happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
Allison stops communicating and Angela steps in.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Mama has to cover for her. But just wait, because it keeps getting better. Let's keep reading.
So it looks like there's a lot of unresponsiveness for lack of communication on Ozark Safety Cabin's part.
Mm-hmm.
Shocker. So let's get to August 9th. Now, May 23rd, June 23rd, July 23rd. Here we are, August 9th. I know that buying a home takes a while. I
Mm-hmm.
get it. Betty says, guess what? It is Friday. Still nothing from you. Let's be honest, please. If you don't have my house and any other containers completed, I want 100% refund. I started this process in April. I need a place to live. The new owners have been gracious enough to give me until the 20th to be off the premises. They are moving here from Alaska and need to be gone. If you can't deliver to me by then, I will be forced to buy a park model home in Idaho and a shipping container from Utah. If that's the case, I will need to get my money refunded from you. I have asked numerous times for information, and as of right now, I have no proof that my home even exists. Please, someone give me an answer now. Betty, I love you.
But unfortunately, the response she gets to that is very underwhelming, uncaring, and basically shrugs her off. They claim that she's been out of the office, whether it's Allison or
Angela,
Angela, we don't
engineer,
know,
we have no idea.
for the majority of the past couple weeks. So, quote, I have not been able to help as much as possible, end quote. Yada, yada, yada. There's just a bunch of hoopla that I'm not even going to
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
You-
But she does go into detail about the paint, and we'll get into that later on let me just go ahead and say everything about the way that they operated this organization was false. It was smoke and mirrors.
There are no shipping containers. There's not. They never owned one.
Getting back to this story, there is just more excuses. She's given more of the same treatment. And I also just want to take note of this, assuming that Angela is the one responding. She says, quote, when we spoke previously about any delays or anything like that, you said that you would be staying with your daughter until you were able to get into your house. Is that not the case
Okay, that's how you're trying to justify this, Angela? It's okay to scam this woman out of thousands of dollars, knowingly let her live with her daughter, sell her house, and not provide her with the home she paid for because she can live with her daughter.
And I just want to know the thought process behind all of this. It's so immoral, but it does get worse. I hate to say this, but it does get worse. The next message from Betty says, I can stay with my daughter, but there is no place for my furniture, my boxes, or any of my stuff. She lives in a small, one bedroom, tiny home with zero storage. I'm sorry for being upset.
Betty, you apologize to them?
I'm just trying to do this by myself. I can't get a well dug. They won't connect my power until I have water. The septic guy backed out on me. I'm getting pressure from all sides. People telling me that I'm a fool.
Oh,
The new owners wanting pictures to prove that I'm gone. And some days I just want to go to sleep and never wake up.
shame on you.
It's been a rough ride for sure. Thank you for reassuring me.
She thanks them. That is completely unacceptable. Why does she feel like she has to apologize? She is at the lowest point of her life by the sound of that message and still apologizes and has patience for these people. There is a
Also,
special place in this world for people like that.
awful, yes. Well, just doesn't even come close to describing it. That's why I feel like we're going so in depth with her story
Right.
and reading so many of the messages back and forth because I really want the listeners to understand.
The magnitude of the damage they
Mhm.
inflicted on one lady.
Yep. Those are safety cabin scam is
Mhm. Is we have
some
proof.
that it's even in this podcast, we're not going to be able to fully wrap our hands around it because, like we mentioned, it's still an ongoing investigation. And I do have hope in the lead detective in Flippin, Arkansas.
Yeah.
He's doing the Lord's work right now. So let's all wish him luck in this endeavor because it's massive.
And if you need our assistance, buddy, we got stacks of
Yeah.
seats.
Don't worry. I mean, I've them to say, hey, I've been sleuthing and I think I found something, and
Yep.
he's more than welcome to hear it. But regardless, he cannot sit down with us and comment on this case because he
It
is
is
trying
an
to
ongoing, yes.
trying to prosecute it. So
And unfortunately, when there's an open investigation, you can do a FOIA request, which is a Freedom of Information request, but law enforcement agencies, they don't have to provide you with that information because it is an ongoing investigation. So we are at that point. So does Betty at least get some reassurance after sending those desperate messages?
well, let me look. No, she gets quite the opposite. Let's see, 19 days go by.
She went 19 days before they responded to her, and
Mhm.
she's pleading her heart out.
Yep. Within those 19 days, Betty sends 7 messages, and really, she just wanted to be heard at this point,
Yeah.
which is a reasonable thing. But one of the things that she says that really, truly breaks my heart the most is, I bought my home from you in April. I don't understand why this is happening to me. My husband died. I had to sell my home, and now I'm living in a small trailer, and I had it all, and now I have nothing.
That was August the 23rd. And it looks like she sends another desperate message on the 26th. It snowed last night. I thought that I would be warm and cozy in my new home by now, instead of freezing in a camp trailer. Any updates? She is still being so optimistic that she's going to get a tiny home from these people.
Well, Betty doesn't get an update until August 28th. Someone named Cassie is messaging from Ozark Safety Cabin's business page. That message says there was a huge health issue with Miss Stugan. Dying is a big health issue. I
It
will say
really is.
that.
I mean, yeah.
When you die and come back to life, I mean, you should
That
be.
is a miracle.
Yeah, I know. You should.
You should be able to just produce tiny homes like that.
But she does go on to explain that we did find transport. However, the guy that we was buying the building from decided to steal everybody's homes. So we are now remaking yours. I will be honest and tell you it will be at least 2 weeks. Hold on. Wait. It was gonna
Yep.
take months and months and months.
Okay,
And
so
now it's gonna take 2
I'm
weeks.
not good at math. We know that. I'm not a mathematician, but I know that when you buy a home in April and it's August and you can build it in 2 weeks,
Okay, maybe
you should.
maybe she meant it will be at least 2 weeks and then one of the Dugans will
You
be
need.
she meant
Okay.
so it will be at least 2 weeks and then one of the Dugans will be contacting you to put you up at a hotel. Okay. So it will be at least 2 weeks and one of the Dugans will be contacting you to put you up in a hotel or offer you your money back.
Money back, please.
They have been around Miss Dugan praying she comes out of this. This reminds me
Dear
of that.
Lord.
Mom, this reminds me of that part in Waterboy where she pretends to fake that illness and he's just around her. He's like
It's like, Mother, oh, Mother, please.
so praying she comes out of this. Allison said, "Please let us know if she can send your money back and
Yes.
get you a room in town while you were waiting for your home." Again, sorry. Again, very sorry all of this happened so fast and everyone's been extremely scared.
Betty responds pretty kindly, saying, I am so very sorry to hear this. My heart and prayers are with you at this time. I
Mhm.
cringe.
Mhm.
Like, it would be better for us all if I could get a refund on all the units I purchased, or at least on my home.
You know what? I can tell Betty is a kind and Christian woman from the way she talks.
Sure, sure, yeah.
And that explains why she's been so patient so far, but everyone has their breaking points. I would say
How
that.
many homes did she buy?
I think she brought 3 units.
And she's only asking for money back on one?
No, she's asking for money back on all of them.
Okay, okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Miss Betty. I was fixing to come to where you live and help you get your money back.
That explains why she's been patient so far, but everyone has their breaking point, and
Sure.
I would not blame her for being way past that
I mean,
point.
she's already left homeless. She's in the freezing cold, nowhere to store her belongings, and no money to find another house. It finally does seem like she has that breaking point on August the 30th. She brings up wanting to speak with their attorney, and that's where the communication we have.
Imagine that. Almost exactly like what happened to us and almost exactly the same time. The email that I sent Ozark Safety Cabins was on August 26th.
So this is all catching up to you very quickly, Dugan family.
On the next episode, we will learn just how far these scammers were willing to go and how everything about this company was completely fabricated.
You can take crime into bed with you any time of the day, but we created it especially for those who enjoy bedtime sleuthing. Until next time, sweet dreams, stay cozy, and stay curious. I'm Jennifer,
I'm Felicia.
and good night.
Sleep tight. Don't let the criminals bite.
Amen.
Thanks for listening. Please see you, like and subscribe.